Hello, friends. They let me out of the house. Is that not amazing? So I teach class every Wednesday night um, at my alma mater. It's great because I get to teach younger students. Normally, I teach adult returning learners online. But once this semester, I get to go and I get to teach seniors an upper level literature course this semester. It's women authors. And we started with Julian of Norwich, who is amazing. I'm going to link some stuff down below in case you're interested in learning more about Julian of Norwich. We know, for example, that Julian is not her name. She was an anchoress, which is a woman who has a cell built on the side of a church, and she is given last rites as she goes in, and she spends the rest of her life in a 12 by 12 cell with two windows. One, and they're not really windows. They look like they're round, and they have three little holes in it that you can push food through and things like that. One of the windows faced into the chapel, one of the windows faced out to the world, and they would give advice and things like that. So we don't know a whole lot about Julian other than her name's not Julian. Julian was the church that this woman was at, and we know that she was literate. And so she had these visions. She was on her deathbed, and she had these visions, which she wrote quickly down after as she was recovering. And then the rest of her time, like the next 20 years, she spent expanding on these divine revelations that she had, and they're called the revelations of love. And she's amazing. She's like amazing. They're beautifully written. Her devotion to God and God's light in her life and her prayer life, and just truly an example of God's grace in many ways, the same ways as Mother Teresa, right? So a woman came along, an upper middle class woman named Margery Kempe, who married, I think, when she was in her early 20s, maybe 20, and she had 14 pregnancies, and she suffered from what we now know as postpartum psychosis. So she too would have these visions. And it's interesting, she was born the year that Julian of Norwich wrote her visions. That was the year Margery Kempe was born. So she was having these visions, and there was really no language in the 1300s to talk about mental wellness and to talk about postpartum depression. And any kind of affliction like that was considered a spiritual affliction. If you were sick or if you had some kind of mental unwellness, they thought it had to do with your relationship to God. So you would have to be exorcised or whatever. And so Margery went to Julian of Norwich and talked to her outside her little window, and Julian comforted her, and said that these were divine visions from God about light and love and being an example in the world. And so then Margery went and told all her friends, like, look, I'm not crazy. Like, these are not from demons. Julian of Norwich, and like, look at her, she's amazing. She says that I'm okay. So Margery Kempe was not literate, so she had somebody write her autobiography for her, and she talked about Julian of Norwich in her writings. And so Julian of Norwich kind of went viral, and so everybody in the Middle Ages was going over to see Julian and talk to her outside her window. And Julian's interesting because she went into the anchorage in her 30s, so it's probably very likely that she had been married, maybe even had children, and that her husband may have died in the 1,000-Year War. But we don't even know her real name. Like, we don't know anything. She was at St. Julian's Church. That's why she's called Julian of Norwich. But we don't know, her real name, and we don't really know a whole lot about her. And what we do know about anchorages is that you would have to pay for your cell, and you would have to pay for your food, and you'd have to pay for, your accommodations to do that kind of lifestyle. And so it became a little bit fashionable for women who had lost husbands to go into these anchorage positions so that they wouldn't have to give up their wealth and give up, they wouldn't have to. If you've read Chaucer's The Wife of Bath's Tale from the Canterbury Tales, you know that there weren't a whole lot of options for women who were widows, right? You had to get married again, and then your new husband got your wealth. So, but if you went into the church, you got to keep your wealth and then donate it to the church. So, interesting. But what I find most interesting about Julian of Norwich is that her message of spreading light and love through prayer and meditation is no different in 1300 than it is in 2022. We are all vessels of God's love. We are all vessels of light. And we have this amazing opportunity to share it. So share it. That was the message. Share it. Share the love. She is the first female author. As I said, she wrote down her visions, and that is the first bit of writing that we see from a woman. And then Margery Kempe, the autobiography that was written for her because she was illiterate, is our first example of an autobiography about a woman. Maybe even an autobiography in general. So these are fascinating ladies, lots of interesting stuff to read about. But what is most pressing to me is Julian's encouragement for spreading light and love. And so I'm happy in 2022 that I get to do that once a week with the students, but that I get to do it every day and every moment. Like I was at a meeting today, and I said, our goal is to be positive beacons of light so that students can see that they have a path where they can be successful, and that that this is this experience at our college is transformational. They'll be able to get better jobs. They'll be able to support their families, and they'll feel better about themselves because they have gone through this amazing opportunity. And so whatever's in your life, there's a lot of darkness in this world, and there are a million ways that you can feel bad about something. There are a million ways that you can be mad at somebody. There's a million ways you can be mad at yourself. But at the end of the day, what you're left with is light and love. And if you choose to keep that and get rid of the rest, it's all good. It's all good. People are going to hurt you. People are going to abandon you. Things aren't going to work out. You can let it affect you, or you can just say, you know what? I'm thankful for that experience. And now I'm choosing light. I am choosing love. And I can't worry about what other people do. I can't worry if they think I'm, unhinged. I can't worry. They think, like as Margery Kempe thought that they were, I'm slightly off my rocker. I can't worry about that. It doesn't concern me. What concerns me is my relationship with God and my ability to share love and light to others. So whatever barriers are in my physical life that I need to remove, it's all good, because then I get to share light and love, and I get to share it once a week for sure, and hopefully every day with you. So thank you for those few of you. I know this is a tiny little channel, but that's okay, because it makes me feel good to talk about the light and love of God and the light and love of our souls and how we are all connected through light and love. So be well, and read up on Julian of Norwich. It's pretty fascinating. I had my students make prayer cards. They really like doing that. So that's a fun little activity that you can do for free on your own time if you'd like, and you can share them below if you'd like. All right, be well. Take care. Bye-bye.